being a female in the trades, are there a lot of females doing the heavy equipment operating side? Have you seen that growth change over the last 11 years?
I think it has. I've seen a lot more women get into the laborers union. Like currently, there's multiple women on my project, but I am the only female heavy equipment operator on the project.
Mm-hmm.
But I have seen a lot more women getting involved because it is a great living. It is a great way to support yourself and your family. And it's, again, no student loans. You're not stuck in an office all day. I personally thrive in the fresh air, whether it's pouring down rain or sunny out. When it hits about 100 degrees, I get a little grumpy, but
It gets hot in there. Now, how was it when you had your daughter, right? So you took some time off. Have you found you had to do that then? Have you noticed any changes for moms in construction?
So I had my daughter, and then after she was 6 months old and I was ready to go back to work, then COVID-19 hit, and then there was no daycares open. Obviously, there was the shutdowns. And then when I did go back, about 2 years later, I was honestly afraid. Like, I hadn't been in a piece of gear for a couple years, and I just felt like I wasn't going to perform.
Mm-hmm.
At least not at the level that you actually need to be a union heavy equipment operator. So as a union heavy equipment operator, you actually aren't supposed to run heavy equipment for non-union companies. However, you can be a laborer or a pipe layer. So I got back into construction, got my foot back in by being a laborer and pipe layer again. And then after about a year of doing that, then I was looking around and I'm like, I can do this again.
Mm-hmm.
And then that's when I put my name on the list and I was ready to go again.
And just build that confidence back up.
Yeah, it was I just had to get back out there, get the dirt on my boots. I had to smell the burning diesel. I just had to get back in that I can't even explain to you what that area feels like. But once you're out of it for a while and you get back into it, you're like, oh, this is home. I miss this.
This is what it was.
Yeah.
And there's been a lot of discussion with kind of the numbers within the seasoned trade professionals, and we're going to be hitting a point where so many are retiring by 2030. What do you think, from your perspective, is happening within the construction industry and the trades? And what do you think are some steps we could do to start trying to improve that before everybody retires?
I think flat out the industry is going to have to evolve because people are evolving. You can break it down back to parenting. People are parenting their children differently. So they don't want to go to work and be miserable. And I know when I got into construction, I was loyal out of fear. Like, I was loyal out of, am I not good enough? I need to work harder than this person. Oh, they didn't say I was doing a good job. I need to work even harder. And it just makes for a miserable morale for yourself. And nobody wants to do that anymore. They just don't. So I have an apprentice laborer that works with me every day. And for example, he didn't care. He had no work ethic. He was late all the time. And so when he wasn't changing, no matter what route I took from what I was essentially accustomed to or believed was the traditional construction way, I took a step back. It's like, what can I change to cause a change within himself and be better? So I started doing basically almost what I do with my daughter: give praise when deserved and give direction when needed. And it was a complete 180. He shows up 10 minutes early every day now. I have to tell him to slow down sometimes because he's just bouncing off the project walls, and he's just always making sure that what needs to be done is done, and checks in with me to see if I need anything extra. If he can tell it's a super busy day and I'm just going a million miles at once, what can I do to help you? How can I do this? How can I do that? And a lot of people on the job site are like, how did you do that? I said, I just changed my approach with him.
Mm-hmm.
And there's this stereotype that construction, it's just that hardcore breed. And it does take a special individual to be out there. But at the same time, if you want the industry to keep growing, we have to want to teach the younger generations instead of just, like I said, my first foreman put me in the excavator, said, don't kill yourself, I'll be back later. That's really intimidating to young adults.
Yeah.
So, and if they're afraid of what they're doing, they're not going to grow. They're not going to be excited about it. You have to get people excited to learn. And that's the best way that we can go about anything with getting kids to want to go in the trades, like with that Build Her program that I do. All of them, every single one of them looked terrified when they walked with me into the excavator to play the basketball dunk game where I taught them how to run it. Yeah. But all of them were just terrified. And then I got them in the seat, talked to them a little bit, showed them how to do it, and was just really positive. I'm like, you got this. You can do this. And every single one of them did it. And they were so excited afterwards. And the confidence, even the self-confidence they had walking away from that excavator was freaking amazing. Like, I don't know who needed that more, me or them, because just seeing how all of them transformed in that little amount of time, it was amazing. And I think that's when I really changed my outlook on how we should be bringing the new generation up. Yeah. Times are changing, and, it's just like in a storm. Like, the big stubborn trees are going to fall. They're going to break because they won't bend. But you have the flexible ones. They'll bend in the winds of change, and they'll survive the storm and keep growing. So
yeah, that's a great analogy.
Thank you.
I know, we don't have an engineer on the call, but the AEC industry in general, like, it is hard. It is demanding because we do have to meet deadlines. There's different risks associated with different tasks or things we're trying to do. And sometimes, people can get heated. Like we get all worried whenever product delays happen. But there's nothing you can do about it. There's a lot of times just factors happen. Like, if a giant storm comes through, I'm sure you can't do the job you were expecting to do that day, but you can't control the weather, and neither can the client or the owner, and you just have to be able to pivot and stop worrying about it. But I remember when I started my career, I was very afraid of messing up anything, and that's just on the drilling side, and I'm not actually building something actively. And it was, okay, I can't mess up, I got to do this right. And those professionals that were just so downgrading to how bad you were doing was super detrimental to any growth I was doing. And if I asked for help, you couldn't get the support. But the second you got professionals that were able to support you when you needed it, could give you a long leash, pull you back in if you're going a wrong direction, and just walk you through some steps. But even being on site, like the superintendents I have worked with that have just been a lot more welcoming. Some of the first sites I was on, I was the only female on site. I was the only female in the trailer. People wouldn't give me the time of day on site. They'd be like, oh, what do you know? You're just some little girl type scenario. But the professionals, I were like, yeah, okay, what do you want? What do you need? Let's get this together. And could get over the either age issue to what do you know, or the I am a female in the profession, like, just go do paperwork and go get me a coffee. I'm like, no, you need to listen to me. I'm the architect. And so it's all those dynamics that I think the older generation leaving probably isn't a bad thing, but apologies to any of my senior professionals that I do really love working with. But it's that next generation of how can we pivot and change how the industry goes.
Yeah, and that's the thing is, like I said, when you are brought up through the industry, led out of fear, and you're trying to grow out of fear, you're essentially still trapped in this little shell, right? Like, you're afraid to speak up. You think that you may know a way to improve the system of what's going on, but you don't want to say anything, right? Because they know best. They've been doing this longer. They're older.
Yeah.
They think you're just a girl. Well, I felt like that my entire career. And then, like I said, I went to the Walsh group and I got sent to, like I said, the import-export side. And the first couple weeks, I mean, things functioned. It was fine. And then so I think there was a lot of don't fix it if it's not broke.
Mm-hmm.
But it just essentially wasn't working for me. I was like, there's so many things we could do to improve safety, to improve production numbers, to improve the flow of how fast these trucks get in and out. And it's a very tight space, and trucks would they were everywhere. And I was like, no, I need structure, because structure is smooth, and smooth is fast, and fast is bigger production numbers, and also still safe. So finally, my superintendent said, it's your yard, do what you want. And I just broke out of this shell, and I was like, I want this, I want this, I want this, and I need this changed, and I need that changed. And he looked at me, and he's like, you've really been thinking about this. I was like, I've been thinking about this every day. I just haven't said anything. And then he said, why? I said, because you guys already have your way. And he said, but nobody's brought something to the table like this. So we implemented everything. And next thing you know, the senior superintendent comes down. I thought I was in trouble. He goes, so you changed a lot of things down here. I said, yeah. And I'm just shaking in my boots. And he goes, I just wanted to come down and let you know that you broke all the trucking records for this project. We have never hauled this much material in and out till you got here.
That's awesome.
So, yeah, it's just, I finally found a place that just let me spread my wings and do my thing. And it's been really positive. And so my yard feeds all the zones, because the project has different zones and different crews. I'm like the heart of that.
Mm-hmm.
So if I don't get trucks in and out, they're not getting their 5/8. They're not getting the dirt brought to me. So if I stall, the whole project stalls.
Yeah.
We can't have that. So
No.
I think it's giving people that space to open up and bring their ideas out and not be criticized for it.
Mm-hmm.
Even if it is just, that's a really good idea, you're on the right track, but we're going to continue to do it this way because of A, B, C, D, and maybe safety.
Yeah.
But we can work towards that maybe in just another angle. Because so many people are told, well, let's do this way. And like, oh, no, we don't do it that way. Oh, no, we've been doing it this way for years.
But then,
and then you just get and then you just get tired of speaking up. Or, oh, no, you belong in the kitchen.
Mm-hmm.
So, it's just, I think a lot of the bigger companies, like the Walshes, they want more women because they're seeing the effect that it has. Like, we're really good at boosting morale. The whole job site could be burning down, and we will find one way or another to make everybody smile again, right?
Yeah.
And high stress is a huge safety hazard, because if you're super stressed out, you're not going to see this coming, you're not going to see that coming, and it just makes everything better when everybody can just come together and be a team again, and then lay out how we're going to go about fixing it.
Check out the full discussion from this bite of advice here. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to hit the subscribe button so you don't miss out on more mentorDINO content.